Hope you are all good. We are dealing with the lessons magnetism. So what are the magnetic properties and what is the magnetic field around the current carrying conductor and what are the properties of magnets, everything. Okay. So this day we are going to discuss about the Lorentz magnetic force. Okay. The Lorentz force, or it is called Lorentz magnetic force, which is very important. So for Coulomb, he discovered the force between the two charges. Like that, he discovered that magnetic force. When the charge is placed on the uniform magnetic field, when the charge is placed on uniform magnetic field, what is meant by uniform magnetic field? It has the same direction and same magnitude. It has the same direction and same magnitude. Okay. So when the charge is placed in the uniform magnetic field, when it's at rest, there is no forces acting on the charge. But when the charge moves in some velocity, or when charge moves with a perpendicular direction, it experiences some forces. So that force we call Lorentz magnetic force or magnetic force of the charge. Okay, that force Fm is directly proportional to the magnetic field and the velocity and the directly proportional to magnitude of the charge. Okay, so what is the Lorentz magnetic force? When the charge placed in the uniform magnetic field, it experiences some force. Okay, it is different from the Coulomb force. Okay, but the charge when moves in the velocity, moves with velocity in a uniform magnetic field, it experiences a force. So that force we call as magnetic Lorentz force. Okay, that magnetic force is directly proportional to the magnitude of charge and directly proportional to the magnetic field and directly proportional to the velocity of that particle or velocity of that charge. Okay, and the magnetic force is perpendicular to that field. Okay, when the magnetic field is perpendicular to that magnetic field, it's nothing but dqb sin theta. When sin theta equal to 90 degree, then sin theta sin 90 will be equal to 1. So the magnetic force will be equal to maximum. The magnetic field will be maximum when it's placed perpendicular to the field. When the charge is placed parallel to this field, the magnetic force, there is no magnetic force is acting on that. Okay, it will become 0. See, the velocity and the magnetic field should be perpendicular. Okay, it should be perpendicular, and then is always positive and negative. Okay, always the force is, the direction of the force is always perpendicular to that magnetic field and velocity, and the direction of the force is negative. Charge is opposite side of the direction of the magnetic field. Okay, when the force is positive, when it's parallel to the magnetic field, that means along with the direction of the magnetic field. Okay, so based on this, there are cyclotrons also working on the principle of magnetic Lorentz force and also the motion of the charged particle. Okay, motion of the charged particle in a uniform magnetic field. Motion of a charged particle. Charged particle in a uniform magnetic field. Now listen, whenever that's a uniform magnetic field which has the same direction, the same magnitude. When the particle moves in a uniform magnetic field. When the particle moves in a uniform magnetic field, definitely it will experience the Lorentz magnetic force. But whenever there is a there is a circular motion of the charged particle. Okay, when it's in the circular motion of the charged particle, I consider there is a conductor which is having the uniform magnetic field. When the charge is moving the uniform magnetic field, it experiences not only the magnetic force as well as centripetal force. So, due to the magnetic force, what is the definition for the magnetic force? When the charge is placed on the magnetic field, it experiences a Lorentz magnetic force. Is nothing but F will be equal to Q into V cross B. Okay. Now listen, V cross B. When the charge moves in the perpendicular direction with some velocity, then it will become VQV. Okay. See, this force equal and nullify the centripetal force. That means the centripetal force is exerted by the charge will be equal to the magnetic force. What is it? MV Okay, mv by r square, right? mv squared by r, right? mv squared centrifugal force. Okay, mv squared by r. Now listen, equating these two things, bqv will be equal to mv squared by r. R will be cancelled. From here we can definite radius of the charged particle will be equal to mv by v2. See, the radius of the particle directly proportional to the mass and directly proportional to the velocity. So whenever the velocity increases, radius of the particle also will be increases. Okay. From here, what is it? V by r? V by r will be equal to vq by m. V by r will be equal to vq by m. Now listen. Suppose how much of distance it will be covered by the particle? Covered by the particle when it moves in the circular motion. When it moves in the circular motion. Okay. The distance will be equal. Speed or velocity will be equal to displacement by time. So time taken by the particle t equal to distance by speed. How much of distance is covered when it moves in the circular motion? 2 pi r. 2 pi r by v. Okay, speed is nothing but your velocity. So velocity will be equal to v. So 2 pi r by v. So from here, substituting this r by v, 2 pi m by v2. 2 pi m by v2. This is your time taken by the particle to complete one circular motion. Okay. Now, what is the frequency generated by that particle? F equal 1 by t is nothing but your vq by 2 pi m. So angular frequency or angular velocity omega will be equal to 2 pi m. So 2 pi vq by 2 pi m. So vq by m. Okay. So listen. When the charged particle moving in a uniform magnetic field, the motion of the charged particle in circular motion will be taken to two places. One is experience the magnetic force, and it also is experience the centrifugal force. So the Lorentz force acts as a centrifugal force for the particle to execute that circular motion. Okay. Now the next one, if this frequency be called as gyro frequency or cyclotron frequency. Now, if the charged particle moves in the region of uniform magnetic field, such a velocity is not perpendicular. In the magnetic field, the velocity and that magnetic field should be perpendicular. But if the charged particle moves in the velocity which is not perpendicular, then it takes the half time it takes perpendicular to the magnetic field, and another one is taking the parallel to the magnetic field. So it gives the helical form. Okay, it gives the rotation of helical form. Here also, the radius of the particle directly proportional to the velocity. So whenever the velocity increases, the radius will be also increases. Okay, whenever the radius increases, velocity also increases. It works as a principle in a cyclotron. Now, example 13.19. The electron moving in a perpendicular to the magnetic field 0.500 Tesla undergoes a circular motion of radius 2.50 millimeter. What is the speed of the electron? We know that. Okay. They given magnetic field equal to 0.50 Tesla and then radius r will be equal to 2.5 millimeter. So it is nothing but 10 power minus 3 meter. Okay, next one. Find what is the speed of the electron. Okay, speed of the electron we have to find. We know that r by v will be equal to, what is that? M by vq, right? M by vq. From here, what is the velocity? V will be equal to q r v by m. Q r v by m. Okay, see. Charge 1.6 into 10 power minus 19. Radius 2.50 into 10 power minus 3. Magnetic field 0.500 divided by mass of the electron 9.11 into 10 power minus 31. 10 power minus 31. Okay, 9.11 into 10 power minus 31. That's it. Substitute the values and gives the answer. Okay. Now, if the charge particle moves in the motion of the charged particle in the elliptical form when it is in the not perpendicular to the magnetic field, what happens? If both the magnetic force and then the electric force acting on the charged particle, when the both magnetic force and then the force due to the magnetic force will be equal to BQV when it goes in the perpendicular direction. Okay, the force due to the electrostatic force will be equal to what? QE, right? QE. So, in the velocity selector, you know mass spectrograph. The mass spectrograph is one of the method to detect the mass of the small size elements. Okay, for proton, neutrons, for the small elements, we will find the mass by using this mass spectrograph. So, removing the electrons from the ions, okay, only the positive ions will be generated. The positive ions are allowed to fall through between the field, magnetic field and electric field. Okay, both the fields are perpendicular to each other. Both the fields are perpendicular to each other. Okay, see, consider this is a particle or ion which is removed by electron. Okay, it is entered into the field both sides. Okay, here I have the magnetic field like this, so it will enter both sides. It will be magnetic field and perpendicular to the electric field. Okay, so it will enter like that. So when it's enter into that both the fields, magnetic field and electric field, it experiences both the forces, the electric field and magnetic field. Okay, electric field and magnetic field. E plus B plus B. Okay, it experiences both electric and magnetic field. So one of the force will be nullified by another force. The one of the forces will be nullified by another force. Or equal amount of forces will be given by the other forces. The magnetic force, which will be equal to the electric field, and they will be nullified each other. So that particle experiences some amount of velocity, because see that QE will be equal to BQE. So QE will be cancelled. Velocity will be equal to electric field by magnetic field. Electric field by magnetic field. How much of electric field you are applying, how much of magnetic field you are applying, the ratio of the electric and magnetic field gives some velocity to the particle. So some amount of velocity, highest velocity the particle achieved and by this electric and magnetic field, and then is entered into that uniform magnetic field, and this velocity we call as velocity. This setup we call as velocity selector. And that forces will be balanced each other, and then the force moving the particular velocity, the proper choice of electric and magnetic field, the particle with the particular velocity can be selected. The arrangement of field is called velocity selector. After it will enter into the uniform magnetic field and deflected by the deflecting waves, affected by the photographic waves. Okay. See the next one, cyclotron. The cyclotron is nothing but the device which is used to accelerate the particle with large kinetic energy. To accelerate the particle with a large kinetic energy. Okay. So cyclotron is a device. It's to accelerate the particles, right? With a large kinetic energy, because you know something in the nuclear disintegrations and the nuclear reactors, we have to bombard some uranium atom with a neutron, right? So whenever you want the most large kinetic energy mass of the particle will penetrating through the nuclear with the heavy atoms, then it will be disintegration will happen. So for that one, we have to send the particle with the higher kinetic energy and higher velocity. So we are using this kind of device to produce that kind of particles. Okay. So now listen, page number 174. A device which is accelerate the charged particle to gain the large kinetic energy. Cyclotron is also now known as high energy accelerator. High energy accelerator. It was discovered by Lawrence and Livingston, right? So construction. What is the construction here? What is the principle used here? When the charged particle, when the positive charge, okay. So when the charged particle placed in the uniform magnetic field, it experiences magnetic Lorentz force. That's the principle used here. So next one, construction. There are the two D-shaped Ds. Okay, two D-shaped Ds, which is maintained with the high uniform magnetic field. that magnetic field will be provided with the electromagnet. Okay, provided with the electromagnet. And then in the center of the disc, the source was placed. In the center of the disc, the charge was placed. Both these are maintained with the high frequency alternating frequency. Okay, or high alternating current. Okay. So when maintained with the uniform magnetic field, it should be at rest. After that, when here the polarity of the one of the charge will be negative and the another one will be positive. Say D1 will be negative and D2 will be positive. The positive charged source will be attracted towards that negative charged disc. Okay, negative side of the disc. After, when it complete the one semicircle, the polarities of the disc will be changed. The polarities of the disc will be changed. Again, what will happen? It will attracted towards the D2. After, once it's completed that semicircle, the polarities again will be changed. So it will goes in the spiral. It goes in the spiral. Again and again it will go like that. And then when radius increases, the velocity of the particle also increases. When it comes out of the disc, it will be captured by or deflected by the deflector plate and captured by the captured with some materials. Okay, and so polarities will change. The one is reached near the edges, taken out with the help of the deflector plate and allow it to the target. Okay, capture or allow to hit the target. Okay. Now listen. What is the frequencies? We know that, right? This goes in the centripetal force, which will be used by the magnetic force. So mv squared by r equal to bqv. So v will be cancelled. So v by r will be equal to bq by m. From here, what is the time period? So here r by v will be equal to m by bq. Listen, r equal to mv by bq. So r directly proportional to the velocity. The radius will be directly proportional to the velocity. Whenever the velocity increases, radius increases, velocity of the particle also increases. From here, find out what is the time period of the particle. T will be equal to 2 pi m by bq. Okay. So what is the frequency? Frequency equal to bq by 2 pi m. What is the angular frequency? 2 pi f is nothing but omega times of f. Now we know that kinetic energy of the particle is equal to half mv square. From here, find out what is the mv square. Half mv square. So v bqr by m. Right? So what is that? 1 by 2 m v square q square r square by m square. M will be cancelled. So 1 by 2 b square q square r square by m. This is the kinetic energy of the particle attained by the cyclotron. Okay. Now the next one. What is the limitations of cyclotron? The speed of the particle will be limited. Speed of the particle ion will be limited. And then electron cannot be accelerated. Any kind of negative charges, okay, electron cannot be accelerated, as well as neutral charges also not accelerated. Uncharged particle cannot be also accelerated. Okay, the force on the current carrying conductor. For example, now we are seeing that how much of force will be experienced by the charged particle placed in the magnetic field. Saying that when the force on the current carrying conductor, when the current carrying conductor is placed on the current carrying conductor, okay, current carrying conductor is nothing but they have a lot of charges, right? So charge nothing but what? The current is nothing but amount of charges passing through the cross section area per unit time. So here the force on the current carrying conductor. So when the current carrying conductor plays in the uniform magnetic field, what is the forces is exerted by this current carrying conductor? Okay, the force on the current carrying conductor when it is placed in the uniform magnetic field. We know that. What is the relation between current and the drift velocity? What is the relation between current and the drift velocity? I equal to NAEVD. Okay, I equal to NAEVD. What is the force exerted by the magnetic field? F will be equal to Q V cross V, Q V cross V. Here, what is the what is the charge particle goes in the current? Is nothing but your electron. It's nothing but your electron. It's nothing but your electron. Okay, now listen. The magnetic field and the velocity will be perpendicular to each other. Velocity and magnetic field will be perpendicular to each other. When the current carrying conductor have the number of free electrons. What is the number of free electrons? Our free electron density is nothing but number of electrons per unit volume. Number of electrons per unit volume. Number of electrons per unit volume. So, the N will be equal to N by V. Then N will be equal to NV. Okay, here the different velocity, right? Volume. Okay, N equal to NV. Now, both sides you just multiply with DL. Okay, both sides we will be multiplying with DL. The length is nothing but your what? Okay, PD. So the minus V plus V. Suppose number of particles are passing through the given area. The number of particles are passing through the given area. So the N equal to N will be equal to number of electrons density into volume A into dl. A into dl. So force equal to minus E N A dl into D plus V. Okay. Now here both sides just multiply with the dl. So the F will be equal to, now listen, NaEVD is nothing but your ideal. So NaEDL, okay, into drift velocity. Drift velocity NaEDL is equal to that ideal. So I cross dl into V. So we can write this VI cross dl. So force experience on the current carrying conductor. Force experience on the current carrying conductor. Or else you can write F equal to VAL sin theta. F equal to VAL sin theta. Now listen, because of cross product, see, whenever theta equal 90 degree, the force experienced by the current carrying conductor is maximum when the parallel to the field. When theta equal to 0 degree, the force experienced by the current carrying conductor will be 0. So F will be equal to VAL sin theta. F equal to VAL sin theta. Now, this was given by the Fleming left hand rule. How do you know that force on the current carrying conductor? What is the direction of the force will be current carrying conductor? When you stretch your fingers on your left hand, okay, the thumb finger and middle finger and forefinger. The three fingers are mutually perpendicular to each other. Then the middle finger shows that gives the direction of the current and the forefinger gives the direction of the magnetic field. Then the thumb gives the direction of the force on the current carrying conductor. The thumb gives the direction of the force of the current carrying conductor. The forefinger is nothing but your magnetic field and middle fingers gives nothing but your current. Okay, so FBI, you know very well about the CBI. Now, so Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI. So, what is it here? Force on the current carrying conductor. Magnetic field, B is nothing but a magnetic field, and the middle finger is nothing but your current, FBI. This rule is also known as the motor rule. This rule is also known as motor rule. Okay, the next one. Force between the two long parallel current carrying conductors. Two long parallel current carrying conductor. Okay, we know that. What is the magnetic field around the current carrying conductor? From the Ampere loop, or magnetic field around the current carrying conductor, B equal to mu naught Ni. Mu naught Ni, correct? Mu naught Ni by 2 pi r. Mu naught Ni by 2 pi r. This is the current carrying conductor. When the magnetic field around the current carrying conductor. What is the force on the current carrying conductor? Equal to VAL sin theta. VAL sin theta. Okay. Now, what happens if there is two forces will be acting on that? When the two forces will be acting on that. Say, when there is a two current carrying conductor, the I1 current flows here, the I2 current flows here. Due to that I1, there is a magnetic field around the current carrying conductor is V1. Due to that I2, there is a magnetic field around the conductor B2. Okay, now fine. What is the B1? B1 is nothing but mu naught n. I1 is due to that I1 divided by 2 pi r. Let be R1 or maybe. Okay. See, what is the force is acting on here? The force on the one will be acting in this direction. F on 2 by 1. F on 2 by 1. And the force experienced by that nearest current carrying conductor is nothing but F12. The force on 1 by 2, the force on 2 by 1. Okay. So, what is the force on 2 by 1? The force on 2 by 1. So, it's nothing but B1 I2 L. B1 I2 L. It's nothing but mu naught n I1 I2 by 2 pi r into L. Okay, same way, what is the force on 1 by 2? So what is the B2 here? B2 is nothing but mu naught n I2 because of I2 by 2 pi r. Okay, what's the force on 1 by 2? The force due to that the current carrying conductor is acting on 1 by I2. So B2 I1, okay, on 1 and L. Okay, so B2, what is the B2? Mu naught n I2 by 2 pi r into I1L. Now listen, both the forces will be same in magnitude, but the direction of the forces will be in opposite side. So it's nothing but what? It obeys the Newton's third law, right? The force on the two parallel current carrying conductors have the same magnitude but act in opposite direction because the current flows in the same direction. When see, due to the Fleming left hand rule, okay, the force on the current carrying conductor like this, okay, the magnetic field around like this, and the current carrying see, when it's placed in the perpendicular to the direction, current flows in this direction. So current flows in the direction, and the force on the current carrying conductor will be acting in this direction, and the magnetic field pointing away from the plane of the board. Okay, so here, same here. When the current flows in the directions, so magnetic field acting in this direction, the force will be acting in this direction. So both the forces will be attracted towards us when they goes in the same direction. Same way, when the direction of the current changes, they will have the repulsive forces. They will be having the repulsive forces. Okay. So when the current carrying conductor having the direction of the current in the same direction, they have the attractive forces. When they have the different direction, they have the repulsive forces. Okay. So from here we can deduce that the force between the two parallel current carrying conductor F equal to mu naught I1 I2 by 2 pi r L. Okay, the force per unit length will be equal to mu naught I1 I2 by 2 pi r. When the two current carrying conductor having the same magnitude, I1 I2 will be equal to 1 coulomb, then they are separated by a distance of 1 meter, then they experience force per unit length will be equal to 4 pi into 10 power minus 7 into 1 into 1 divided by 2 pi into 1. Okay, so it experiences the force of 2 into 10 power minus 7, 2 into 10 power minus 7 force per unit length. This one we called as 1 ampere. This one we called as definition of 1 ampere. The 1 ampere defined as the constant current which passes through the two infinite long parallel straight conductor kept side by side parallelly at a distance of 1 meter apart in the air or vacuum causes each conductor to experience the force of 2 into 10 power minus 7 Newton per meter length. Newton per meter length of the conductor. Okay, inshallah next class onwards, what will happen if the current carrying conductor plays in the uniform magnetic field? Okay, the force will be acting, right? Both the forces will be acting. F equal to BA side. BA. If it is the loop, means what will happen? See, consider this is the magnetic field, north and south pole, they maintain with the uniform magnetic field. Now have the one loop, the generator like that. P, Q, R, S. Okay. P, Q, R, S. R, S, P, Q, R, S, we can take away anything. Okay. P, Q, R, S, whatever we do. The length of the conductor will be taken as B, and this one we can take as A. Okay. BA. Okay. We know that when the force is under current, the force will be acting in this direction F1 and this force will be acting in this direction Fs. So they are making an act of torque. So what is meant by torque? Torque is equal to force into perpendicular distance. Force into perpendicular distance. So what is the force here? BAF, right? What is the perpendicular distance? Perpendicular distance C. There is a torque of X nothing but B by 2 sin theta. So there are the two forces will be acting. BIL. See, this is due to the north pole and this is due to the south pole. Okay, BIL, B by 2 sin theta. So B by 2 is nothing but your length into breadth. So BIL is a common. B by 2 plus B by 2 it will become B sin theta. Okay, so length into breadth is nothing but your area. So BAA sin theta. BAA sin theta. So torque will be equal to BAA sin theta. Also we can write this one B into I cross A. Okay, B into I cross A is nothing but your what? Now equal to B into I cross A. So product of current and the area will be nothing but your magnetic moment. It's nothing but your magnetic moment, dipole magnetic moment. Okay, so when theta is equal to 90 degree, what will happen? The plane will be parallel to the magnetic field. The torque on the current loop is maximum. When theta equal to 90 degree, it gives the maximum torque field. When it's 0 degree or 180 degree, plane of the paper loop is perpendicular to the magnetic field. Torque on the current loop will be 0. Torque on the current loop will be equal to 0. So based on this, the moving coil galvanometer works. Based on these things, the moving coil galvanometer also works on the principle. Okay, moving coil galvanometer is a device which is used to detect the small amount of current. Okay, so there's a graduation scales over there, and then you may see a lot of things. Okay, there is using the Pascal drones, which is have the small twist per unit. Okay, see, small couple per unit twist. 0 will be deflected. Okay. What is the principle used here? When the current carrying loop is placed in the uniform magnetic field, it experiences the torque. So north and south pole will be a uniform magnetic field. The torsions will be acting on that. Okay. The moving galvanometer consists of the rectangular loop. Okay. This one is a rectangular loop insulated in the thin copper wire, and the coil contains a large number of turns wound over the light metallic frame. The cylindrical soft iron core is placed symmetrically. Inside the coil as shown in figure. The rectangular coil is suspended freely between the two pole pieces is called horseshoe magnet. The upper end of the rectangular coil is attached to the one end of the fine strips of the Pascal bronze, and the lower end of the coil is connected to the air spring, which is also made up of Pascal bronze. In a fine suspension strip, a small plane mirror is attached. To the order to measure the diffraction of the coil with the help of the lamp and the scale arrangement. The other end of the mirror is connected with the torsion head in order to pass the electric current through the galvanometer. So okay, whenever the current magnetic poles they produce the radial magnetic field. Due to this radial magnetic field, the QR and the SP, that means the sides of the rectangle always parallel to the magnetic field and experience the no force. The sides BQ and RS always perpendicular to the magnetic field experience the equal forces in the opposite direction. Due to this, the torque will be produced. So tau equal to BAA sin theta. If they have the number of turns, okay, BAA. If suppose they have the number of turns, then NBIA, or you can write okay, NABA. Now listen, the torque directly proportional to the deflection. The torque directly proportional to the deflection. So whenever the torque is due to the deflecting torque, the coil gets twisted and the restoring force is also developed. Okay, hence the moment of the restoring force is proportional to that amount of twist. So tau equal to K theta. K is called galvanometric constant or restoring couple per unit twist. So that K theta is equal to NABA. So theta by the unit twist per unit current. Okay, unit twist per unit current. by K, NAB K. This is called current sensitivity or Gala-meter constant. Okay, so the current per unit twist will be equal to K by NAB. K by NAB. I will be equal to K by NAB theta. So this one we call as G. G theta, Gala-meter constant, or it is called reduction factor of the Gala-meter. Since suspended moving coil Gala-meter is very sensitive, we have handled with the high care while doing the experiment. Most of the Gala-meter we use are the point type moving Gala-meter. Figure of means of the Gala-meter is defined as a current required to produce the deflection one scale divisions into the Gala-meter. Sensitivity of Gala-meter same. How much of deflection produced per unit current? Deflection produced per unit current. Okay. Current sensitivity. Voltage sensitivity. So voltage sensitivity, deflection produced per unit voltage. Theta by IR. Theta by IR. So what will happen? KR will come with KR. So nothing but your G theta. 1 by G theta. Theta by Ig will be equal to voltage sensitivity. This is nothing but 1 by G theta into Rg. Okay, 1 by G theta into Rg. Rg. 1 by G theta. Not theta. 1 by G Rg. Now listen. How to conversion of Gala-meter into voltmeter? See, listen. Conversion of Gala-meter. The basics of ammeter and voltmeter all are the based on that Gala-meter. Okay. So Gala-meter only used to convert into as a voltmeter as well as ammeter. Now, for example, when you are connecting the high resistance, in a parallel to the Gala-meter, it acts as it's like a high resistance with the parallel or high resistance with the series. Okay. So when the high resistance or the low resistance, when we connected with the Gala-meter parallel to the Gala-meter, it will be act as a ammeter. See, the current will go like this. At these junctions, it will split up into Gala-meter current, here I minus Ig. This one we call as shunt resistance. Low resistance with the Gala-meter, LPG. Okay, low resistance parallel to the Gala-meter. Produces ammeter. Okay, ideal ammeter. See, when you are connecting that ammeter in an external circuit, you should connect with the series. Okay, when internally it will connect with the parallel. So, what is the voltage across both sides? V Gala-meter will be equal to V shunt. So, V Gala-meter is nothing but Ig Rg. V shunt is nothing but I minus Ig plus shunt resistance S. Okay, shunt resistance is nothing but your low resistance connected with the parallel to that field. Okay, from here the current sensitivity will be deflected. The percentage also. The ammeter of the ammeter is the low resistance instrument. Is always connected in the series to the circuit. The ideal ammeter has the zero resistance. In order to increase the range of an ammeter n times, the value of shunt resistance will be connected in parallel. So from here we can write S equal to what is that? Ig Rg by Ig Rg by Ig Rg. From here I take out the Ig outside. Ig Rg by Ig minus Ig. Okay, Rg will cancel. So Rg divided by n minus 1. Okay, for the nth times. See, Gala-meter to voltmeter. High resistance should be connected in series. Okay, so same Gala-meter. Here high resistance should be connected in series. Here also shunt resistance. Here we can calculate high resistance with the series. Here also we have to calculate what is the current. Okay, current will be equal to Ig current. So Ig current is nothing but VR. So it's nothing but what? Ig is nothing but potential difference by resistance. Total resistance. Potential difference will be equal to. So Ig will be equal to potential divided by total resistance. R plus Rg plus Rs. Rg plus Rs. Gala-meter resistance plus shunt resistance. Okay, from here high resistance. Okay, not and shunt resistance, high resistance. So from here what is the RH? RH will be equal to Rg plus Rh will be equal to V by Ig. Okay, so voltmeter is high resistance instrument which is always connected parallel with that circuit, and then when the circuit element across the potential difference to be measured. In ideal voltmeter has the infinite resistance. In order to increase the range of the voltmeter n times, the value of resistance should be connected in series. Okay, so RH will be equal to n plus R1, n minus 1 Rg. That's it. Okay, so we have completed this lesson also. Inshallah, the next week on 10th, we gonna write the examination for second lesson. After that week, we'll discuss with that lesson again. After we just write the test for this lesson also. Okay, inshallah. Thank you guys. Allah Hafiz.